We are here for goodness sakes. Hello family, this is Carol Wirth with Saul to Paul LLC, and welcome to the Goodness Forum YouTube and podcast, where goodness and positivity are openly discussed and amplified. Thank you for tuning in. So each week we have a guest that's either a person or a business, and today it's Bryan Fisher.
Hi.
To discuss the goodness and positivity that they're spreading in the world. Here at Saul to Paul LLC, we are a stand for a world that works for everyone. And we know that part of what we can do is to focus on what's good. Because what we know is that what you focus on in life grows. So thank you for helping us have a world that works for everyone by focusing on the good. So each week we focus on a particular topic, we have a quote, and then we talk to our guest and they tell us what's going on. So the topic today comes from Bryan, something he says frequently, and that is best day of my life. And the quote is from Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, and here's the quote. Optimism is more than just a positive attitude. It is a positive attitude accompanied by the certainty that there is always an optimal outcome for any circumstance, and it is a commitment to seek that. And we chose that quote because it really does speak to the attitude that comes from being authentically yourself, coming from the love that you are, and being a commitment to finding the best in all circumstance is a natural expression of what we are, the love, the child of God. And so being authentic gives permission to others to be authentic, and there's that ripple effect. And there we go, with a world that works for everyone. When we are all being a stand for love, there's a possibility there. And so that's why we chose that quote. And I just absolutely love that one of the things I learned from Bryan was saying that thing. So Bryan was and is my first manager at Starbucks. He's a manager at the first store I worked at, and he is a good friend of mine. And one of the things I've always admired about Bryan is his absolute optimism. And that's one of the things he always would say when customers ask, or anybody asks, well, how are you doing? Best day of my life, you know? And so today I'm going to ask him just to talk about that, what his kind of take is on life and where that comes from. And then the other thing that Bryan does a lot of is he does a lot of service work and volunteer work through Starbucks, but at the food bank, the local food bank, and other things. So Bryan, thank you for coming, and thank you for being you.
Well, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
And thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's exciting that you offered it to me just through the things that I do in my daily life.
Yeah. So could you talk about that? Like how that's just so remarkable. Best day of my life. So well, where did that come from? How did that? What's the story?
I've been doing Starbucks a long time and retail before that, so most of my life, 20 plus years in retail and helping customers and greeting them every single day. And you just get tired of that same standard, oh, I'm great, how you doing? And so it kind of started off a little bit snarky on days. How are you doing today? Oh, best day of my life. And it's 4:30 in the morning. Obviously, you're probably not super happy to be there. But the reaction that I got from people who were, often I would say it seriously, sometimes snarkily, but even the snarky people, they'd be like, wow, that's amazing, that's just great, such a great attitude. And it flipped it for me over time and made it so, you know what? Today truly is the best day of my life. It's the only day, it's the only moment right now, and you have to make it what it is. And so that made me have that attitude, and then push that onto customers and people and anybody that I see on a daily basis or just in general. And now that's the standard answer. I can't even help myself from saying it. If somebody says, hey, how you doing? Oh, best day of my life. How are you?
Right?
So
and there's that smile, right?
You got to get the smile in there, or people then do think it's snarky. But it's helped shape kind of who I've become at work and at home, and just helped shape my general attitude of optimism. And I loved talking to you over the last year or so and talking about how optimism and goodness is a ripple effect, and having the ability every single day to be that first contact that somebody might have out there in the world.
Absolutely.
And to really try and give them the great experience and make them happy and super excited, and then they go on and, oh, that guy was so nice, and they do something nice to the next person. There's, I think, a TV commercial similarly, the pay it forward kind of deal.
Right, absolutely.
But, I mean, I see that happen on a daily basis, and often it's potentially me who's affecting that change in the very beginning and starting that ripple effect and the snowball effect. And
absolutely.
so it's super fun.
So yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's like we could become resigned. There's a lot going on in the world that is at best difficult, and we could become resigned, like, well, what can I do? But what can we do, right?
Exactly.
Is make that difference for one person. Who knows what that's going to start off.
Well, and obviously behind the scenes and during other times of our day, we're working towards those things that we don't necessarily agree with in the world, because we got to keep positive actions going. And,
right, absolutely.
And speak our mind. But with every single little interaction that we have with another person, why can't we just make that be so positive and happy, and try to start that ripple effect in each interaction with every single person we touch on a daily basis?
Absolutely. And now, so part of what the quote was talking about is that, you know, optimism is a certainty that is, there's always an optimal outcome for any circumstance, and a commitment to seek that. Has there been times when there's been things going on that seemed like, oh, yikes, and then like kind of using your motto to kind of work your way through that? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I mean, to me, that quote is a lot about compromise. Because there's lots of situations where there's conflicting priorities, and you just really need to figure out how to balance those two conflicting things so that you can get that best outcome for everyone involved. You're not always going to get the exact thing that you want and that total optimal outcome, so you're working for the common good, I think, in most situations. So me being a manager for a long time, it's usually two people that I have to strike that balance between, and not one of them's never going to get exactly every single thing that they want, so it's talking to them and figuring out what they can kind of give up and what the other person can give, and so we can adjust and strike that balance and that compromise so that we can work towards the common good for everyone.
Right, so the optimal, I mean, really,
The
that
optimal
is,
outcome, yeah.
really the optimal outcome is that everyone feels heard, and
that's
everyone,
the key, yes.
is supported in what's going on, and it's really a looking at, you know, one of my favorite sayings is, what blesses one blesses all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not all about me, right? And that selfish self-centeredness can really work against that.
And often once people understand why they can't have one thing because that affects somebody else, they are happy to give up whatever they need to make that optimal balance and that, I don't know, great experience for everybody.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like one of the things that's critical in that is communication. And really being willing to be with people where they're at, meet them where they're at, but also take them to someplace, you know, that's good for everyone.
Absolutely. I don't know, I mean, let's read this quote again.
Okay.
Optimism is more than just a positive attitude. It's a positive attitude accompanied by the certainty that there's always an optimal outcome for any circumstances and commitment to seek it. And so, yeah, I mean, as a manager, that's what I'm always looking for, is that optimal outcome, and I know that it's there. It's just
right?
Communicating and figuring out how to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're committed to it.
I know, I know, and that's why Bryan is such an amazing manager, is that you really do care about people, and you care about not just, you know, the customers, which of course we care about our customers, but I know personally in working with you that you care about everyone that you're coming into contact with, the other partners and So it's
It's
just
a little
really
selfish because I know that if I take care of you guys and my customers, that they're going to come back and you guys are going to take care of them when I'm not there. So
yeah, but you didn't have to do it the way you do it.
no, I want everyone around me to be happy. Happiness begets happiness.
Yes, it does.
Happy
Yes, it does.
Employees create happy customers, create happy people that I'm driving near.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose if you want to call that selfish, but I really don't. I call that, absolute self-love. And when you're loving yourself and you're loving others, it's like it's a natural and authentic expression. And that's one of the things I see in you as a very authentic human being, being kind and generous and loving, and that's awesome.
thank you.
Yeah. So would you talk to our viewers about the kind of work you do at the food bank and what through Starbucks you do some volunteer work.
Through Starbucks, we have a lot of opportunities to actually get out into the world and work through other group volunteer events or create our own. Or I've actually been able to go down and do some volunteer work in Oregon and Costa Rica, the coffee farms, things like that.
Wow, nice.
All experiences that Starbucks provides for partners, and not all of those. Sorry, you don't get to go to Costa Rica next week.
Darn!
Maybe some point. Maybe some point. But here locally, we have a great partnership with. It's totally slipping my mind, but it is
Second Harvest?
Second Harvest Food Bank, yes. And we have slots most weeks where anybody who works for the company can go down and volunteer and sort food and give back to the community. And then we have some other major events that actually Starbucks pays the people. Like say we go down and clean the riverbank, 10 of us.
Yeah.
Starbucks will pay us $10 an hour.
Nice.
So we'll get $1,000
Yeah.
That goes towards the river, Spokane River. And then also they've got 10 hours worth of cleanup.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah,
Programs
totally.
like that you can set up in stores. And also the great thing is customers can come in and talk to partners and help get up programs like this set up if customers have ideas. So if there's anybody out there, go talk to your local Starbucks and get a volunteer event going, get some money for your group and some volunteer hours.